What's going on? Welcome to your first Badass Debrief. I'm so stinking excited. Yes, very animated today because this is the solo follow-up episode where not bake down, but we break down the big truths from our latest episode. And we turn those truths into bold, unapologetic action. So let me ask you a gut check question. Have you ever felt like the room you were trying to lead in wasn't built for you? Like, no matter how hard you work or how brilliant your ideas are, you are still playing by somebody else's rules. Same, same. And this podcast is here for you in exactly that. We will share stories and strategies to help women lead louder in rooms that were not built for them.
Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Last episode, Keisha Winter said something that hit like a truth bomb. She said, "You don't have to change who you are to be successful. You just have to embrace your authentic self, leverage those differences as differentiators." Whew, that's not a quote. That's a challenge, my friend. So it's a challenge to like embrace your inner badass, to embrace things that are unique about you. You've probably heard from my friend Andy Vargo, and he always says to own your awkward. That's in leadership too. It's to own the badass things about you that are different than those around you. And if you work in a predominantly male industry, there's plenty of those to find. And even if you don't, leadership roles, CEOs, that kind of thing, a lot of times it's mostly men. So you still find yourself standing out, looking different, thinking differently than they do. And you know what? That line by Keisha really got me thinking. It got me thinking about all of the times that I have shrunk, all of the times that I have tried to blend in. I dimmed my light just so that I would be like everybody else. When I first got into law enforcement, I looked at all my coworkers, and yes, they were mostly men, but I would compare myself and my abilities to theirs. And I'd be like, oh, but I don't know if I can do that. Or I would try to do things the way they did, and it just didn't work for me. And it made me feel like even more of an imposter or a fake, a fraud, because I was like, I can't do it that way. And then the harder I tried to do it their way, the worse it got for me. And I would go above and beyond to not stand out, I didn't want to look bad, or I just wanted to blend in and do things the way all of the guys around me did it. And so it's like I made things harder on myself. I made the path harder on myself because I was so convinced that I needed to do things the way they did it. And guess what? It just doesn't work that way. You can't always do things the way they do it. And I get to learn a job. You're like in my situation, I was around mostly men, so I had to learn from them. But there are still places where you can tweak and adjust and do things that work for you. You don't have to try so hard to blend in. And guess what? Doing things their way, trying to blend in and fit in, not be awkward, not be different, that didn't help me rise. It just made me resent the game. It also just made me shrink, like it shrunk my confidence. I totally lost it because I was too busy thinking I needed to be like everybody else. That never helps your confidence, right? What if this thing that you've been hiding, this thing you're embarrassed about, that's the thing that makes you so stinking powerful? What if you're not too anything? Too bold, too different, too quiet? You're exactly who the room needs you to be. Even if the room knows it or not, it doesn't matter. But you need to step into that version of you that is unique, that is powerful, that is uniquely you. And that's the shift that Keisha Winter was talking about. That's how you build your own damn table. You build your own damn seat at the table and welcome other people to it. And for most of my career, for a long time, I tried to like cut off my feminine edge or, the sensitive side, the emotional side, the just the feminine part of me, because that wasn't necessarily accepted or I didn't know if it would be accepted. And so I wouldn't do things that were typically female because I was like, no, I don't want to be that. And guess what? That took a part of me because I have a big heart. I like to give things to people. That's kind of my thing. And I wasn't doing that, or I wouldn't want to bring food because, like, oh, the females have to create the parties or bring food. Guess what? If you like to do that, then do that. And so once, really, it was after I got into leadership, I started doing that because I felt food brought people together. Now, I didn't always make it. Sometimes it would be a pizza party, or I would have a pizza round table where everybody brought an idea or a suggestion, something they were going through at work, and presented it to the group so that everybody can learn from it. Everybody could be on the same page. And once I started doing that, I started to see people come together and it was powerful. So cutting off that version of you that you think is too female or too different from everybody else, that's actually hurting the group. That's hurting your workplace, everybody around you. Because if you actually owned that part of yourself, then that could have a huge change in the environment in the place that you're working. So don't underestimate that. So here's your challenge. The takeaway from this week that I want you to implement or to try to implement is just notice, where are you muting yourself? Maybe it's in a meeting. Maybe it's online. Maybe somebody gave you credit and you deflected it instead of owning it. That's a huge thing, right? Or people will be like, oh my gosh, you did such a good job on this project. And you're like, oh, well, it was really the team. It wasn't just me, but you never take credit for anything that you did. Try just to thank you. Thank you. And of course, I would say to write that down in your badass brag file. Just have a brag file where you write things down of compliments people give you. Or if you get it in email, throw it in an email file. But a brag file is so important. So those days when you're having the hard time and you don't believe that you're a badass, you don't believe that you're a good leader, you go back to that brag file and you look at all of the good things people have said to help you remind you what your worth is, what you're doing, like to help you remind you what a badass you are. Then try this. Share the thing. Say the idea. Share the thing. Let the moment be yours. Just own it. And don't criticize yourself. Whatever you say is fine. The fact that you're speaking up is freaking awesome. Leadership isn't about being loud. If this introvert can be a leader, so can you. It's about being unshakably real, being who you are. And if this message hit home for you, you have to download my free guide, Breaking Barriers. It's all about helping women like you lead louder and being seen for the badass that you are. No masks, no shrinking, just strategy and self-trust. You can grab it now, ordinarytobadass.com/barriers. If this episode, no, if this episode hit home for you, I would love to hear from you on Instagram. You can find me at Ordinary to Badass and just take a screenshot of this episode. Tell me how you're stepping up this week. It's so important for me to hear from you, hear what you're going through, the wins you've had, the struggles you're facing. I want to know. And you can be featured in a future episode, or I can answer the questions that you have. All right. Catch you on Monday. And hey, share this episode with another woman who's done being overlooked. And we're not just leading louder, but we're building our own rooms. Until next time, keep showing up, keep speaking up, and never ever shrink for a seat at the table. You were born to build it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.